Italia!
Hi, everyone. Good afternoon, good evening, good morning, depending on where you are. And yeah, proud to have another episode of Millionaire Science 360 with the amazing, the best co host you could ever hope for,
Wow.
Mr. Shane and Mr. Lab Gorilla. How's everyone doing?
Shade.
I'm good. Sorry, I was trying to
Okay.
unmute. No, I'm fine. Yeah, I'm good. I'm enjoying finishing where we deserve to finish in the Champions League, which is outside of the top eight. I'm gonna further enjoy as well getting absolutely ripped a new one by Inter tonight. So I have a lot to look forward to. A lot of failed, either green signings that don't fix what we need or overhyped players. So we're all going to cover it today. But that's where I'm at. How about you, John?
Well, it's been a very strange week in the world of Milanisti again. I think this transfer window is possibly the most contentious one that we've seen in a few years. I don't know. I mean, losing Tonali was heavy, hurt a lot. This doesn't hurt so much. It's just very weird behavior, and we'll discuss it later. But overall, I think in the Champions League, exactly what Husney predicted happened, which he said, we're going to win some, we're going to lose some, and then some small team somewhere is going to beat us. He said that, and sure enough, unfortunately, Husney, your crystal balls are correct. But we're ready to go. Kim, hi, good morning, sir.
All right, let's get that chat overlay here. I think it's kind of cool to show everyone's comments. Yeah, unfortunately, and I apologize to everyone for being right. Everyone knows that I never want to be right, but it's starting to happen quite often with this club.
Yeah.
Beat Real,
So
beat
yeah,
Inter, lose to Dinamo Zagreb.
Morning, Fahadinho.
so yeah, hi Fadino, morning over there. So yeah, just to kick things off, we're gonna do the latest match review, right?
We're going to go through the Champions League and results and then talk about the match review. Want to hear what everyone's got to say about it. Right. So this is the dreaded table. We've finally completed it, guys. So yeah, we started with a battering at Liverpool, which Shane was there for in person. I just reminded everyone. Quick comment on that, Shane, since I've got you here. I texted you this question, but you were there, sir. Would you say that we were competitive in that game? Because I've heard other channels say we were never out of that game. I beg to
Uh,
differ personally.
to be honest, John, I was there with Vinny from MWP, and a lot of beers were consumed. So from what I can remember, no,
Yeah, from what I can
that's about
remember
all. I
watching. Okay. You were semi-conscious.
The only way we were in it was literally Pulisic was lucky to get the first goal. And everything after that was just us getting decimated off the pitch by a far better, stronger EPL team against an EPL light team. So, no, we were
So
never really in it.
I agree. From watching on television, I agree. It was a slaughter. We were never in that game. It was anybody that says otherwise. What drugs are you on? Leverkusen, we lost. So after the first two games, we thought, okay, this is going exactly to form. Match 3, we're going to win. We did. We thought match 4. Remember, that was the time Real Madrid was really on a low, really taking a dip. And we took it to them. We beat them away from home, and we thought, oh, hang on, look at the fixtures. This is when we had, I think, that pod with you, Husney, as well. So let's look at the fixtures, guys. We might actually win, and as in win all the remaining games and finish in the top 8. And Husney came back and said, no, John, we're probably going to lose against one of the shit teams. And I was like, that's not possible, Husney. What are you talking about? But I don't know. As you said, you Husney, I don't know, man. You give us a jinx, dude. So yeah,
Save the best for
it
last.
was it was absolutely tremendous, that game. And I've got to say, for that game, thank you, Strasbourg Steve, for letting me watch it. Let's just say that. Okay, so next slide. Let's go to the next slide.
One thing I want to ask about the game, and since Shing, you were there in person, so I think all of us we watched it. That wasn't the first time that we played Liverpool in the Champions League, so it's the second time, and we played at Anfield, right? So, what do you think in terms of the team? Because it was a vastly different, not completely, but almost completely different team. We lost both games, but do you think that we were in a better shape when we played them the first time, considering that that was, if I'm not mistaken, I was Scudetto winning
Are you talking about the game
season.
with Kessie?
Yes, with
Yeah, and the
Cassie.
game with
Yeah.
Diaz, right?
Yeah. Diaz,
Yeah, and
Rebic.
Diaz scored the goal. Yeah. No, we were because we had a team with character and actually a bit of grinta at that point.
Yeah.
You see, this is the thing because the the way that the squad is kind of built now for me, like we're going to go into this later when we reflect more on the transfer window. But what we're, I think the key component that we're missing is we're missing players with balls, you know, that'll go and grab the bull by the horns, and we just don't have that. And you can see that the lack of, it's not as much, there isn't a lack of quality, I think. So compared to the original games that you're mentioning, Hosni, which is, Diaz, Kessie, a few years ago, um, I think that the quality, right, of the team in terms of like say skill and characteristics, right? I think pound for pound that's gone up. But the problem is I think what's gone down is the attitude and the character and the fight of the players.
Yeah.
And that's related to the playing staff that we're getting in, right? And that's directly related to Moncada looking for weak-minded men.
It's no
You know,
personality. Yeah.
well, he said himself, he looks for people that don't, rock the locker room. But if you look at the opposite side of that, so if I'm looking for someone who doesn't, rock the locker room too much, then that's a person who doesn't say much and who just goes with the flow, and then that's someone that doesn't have balls, right?
Mm.
So it's directly related to that, you know.
Oh, thanks for Hadinho. Yes, good reminder, man. Like and subscribe, please, fellas. Okay. So we go on to the game that we played this week. Dinamo Zagreb was, God, quite a game. I didn't know Cannavaro was their manager, guys, by the way, until the actual game itself. I don't know how
It
you
was
felt
their
about that.
it was their third manager of the UCL stage.
Are you joking me?
No, that was their third manager.
Wow. Well, it finished 2-1. The starting lineup was Gabian Pavlovic. In the centre back position, we had Fafana, Reindeers, Musa Pulisic, Leao, Morata. Turns out this was Morata's last game. Husney, did you watch the game?
I did, and I know I say this quite a bit. Big shout out to everyone in this part of the world, and that includes you, Kim, and anyone who's in that time zone as well, to stay up and watch that sort of performance at that time. It takes a lot of courage, by the way, and it takes a lot of how can I say it, resilience to really watch the entire game. So I caught it. John, and like you said, I always want us to win, but I wasn't hopeful. Sorry, I wasn't completely optimistic that we would actually be able to pull this off. Maybe, and I had this back on my mind, maybe we could pull off a draw somehow. It would be like a 1-1 or 2-2 and somehow scrape into the top 8. I mean, that would be the story of Milan, but it didn't happen. And just to take some points, and I know everyone has been speaking a lot about the red card, and I saw more. What struck me, the first thing that really struck me was that we started at a different system. I think we were at a 3-4-3, if I'm not mistaken. I didn't understand why we had to experiment on a game that you could say is a must-win game if you wanted to make the top eight. So I didn't feel that was the right game, but I want to give Conceição the benefit of experimenting because he doesn't have a preseason to try these things. Didn't work. We looked so muted in attack. Morata, justifiable why he went out, but yeah, I mean, so disappointing. I mean, it was so close in terms of like we top eight was there for us to lose, and we
Yeah,
couldn't
it's a
pull it off.
good way of putting it. It was there for us to lose. I agree. Shane, you watched this too?
I did. I did. I was witness to the full spectacle. It was marvelous. It just shows you how far, how far and deep in we are in this kind of what's turned out to be a banter era. When the fan base turn on Gabia and say he's a junk player because he screwed up, and let's be completely honest, right? It was a fuck up, right? And
It was.
it was a serious one, right? However, right, he's probably our safest defender and our most consistent. So while it was a costly screw up, you know, you can't exactly be throwing away a player just because of one, glaring fuck up like this. I think we need to seriously catch ourselves on this,
Yeah.
because I mean, but funnily enough, I don't hear the same shit being said about Musa, who basically caused this loss.
Yeah.
Indirectly as well, right? Because and for me, that's more glaring. 2 yellow cards, right? Both justifiable yellow cards, to be honest. Fair enough. The first one was a bit soft, right? But you could still give it. And next thing, then he goes and he fucking rugby tackles one of the Zagreb players,
Yeah.
right on the edge of the box, right? So it mightn't have even been a free. It could have been a penalty.
Yeah, it was very
You know what
close.
I mean?
Yeah.
But the thing is, though, right? And again, we're going to speak about the transfers later, right? But this is this is what happens when you get a player who's not at the level, right? And I think, right, I genuinely think, that there's a player in Musa in the future,
Yeah.
right? I do. I think the quality, but for right now, right, what's happening is where we have a player who's very young, because keep in mind he's only 23.
Yeah. 20. He's
I
younger
think
than that.
Moose
I
is
think he's
still
21 still, isn't he? Isn't he even younger?
he's 20, like he's still a kid,
Yeah.
right? And the thing is he's gonna like it's a lot of pressure on him, right?
22.
You
He's
know,
22 according.
the
Yeah.
22. He's 22, right? There's a lot of pressure on this kid, right? The skill level isn't where we need him to be at right now, and this shows through how inconsistent he is. I think I listened to MLM podcast. Shout out Max and Gino.
Yes.
So catch him on Spotify, guys. It's great content, and on YouTube. But I think it was Max that was saying it was like 1 in every 500 things that Musa does is great, but it's the other 499 that fucks him up. You know what I mean? Because he's very average, and he is very average. But the thing is that if this was a quality Milan squad, Musa would see no time on the pitch. Musa would be a potential player with some, skills that we can use later on that would be loaned out to a lower level Serie A side.
Yes.
And that's where he should be. I mean, I jokingly said Bologna, right? But Bologna would make sense because he would have been playing in the UCL and he would have been getting, blooded in Serie A, and we could have, a better player in the end. But because now we have this player who's still too young, doesn't have the level yet, eventually he does reach it, and just two glaring fuck ups like this. And, Gabiev fair, right? Obviously, one of the goals was directly related to his fuck up, right? But Musa, he was related to us fucking losing the game because we have more than enough quality to be ripping 3 or 4 past this team, and you can't do
Yeah,
that when you're
absolutely.
a man down. Do you know what I mean?
Yeah, yeah,
So very disappointing, very
yeah.
disappointing. But again, there's no surprises here, though. You know, it's what happens when you play
Unfortunately,
kids.
I think you're both absolutely spot on with your opinions on this. It was not surprising that we ended up losing this game. Just want to say hi, Ray. Hope you're doing well, sir. So we used the latest technology and the latest camera work to get close-up views of the Musa incidents, where he got the red cards, and I think we've got them here. See if we can bring them up, guys. Here we go. So this is the first yellow. Uh, the Zagreb player was basically injured on the floor, and Musa. I mean, I was. Did you guys like say, "What are you doing, mate?" He grabbed his arm and just started dragging his body across the field. I thought, what sport are you playing? And yeah, Cannavaro was on the side laughing, and this was Conceição's face. And then only 8 minutes later, a Zagreb player broke free. They started running towards goal, and Musa went, "I'll run up behind you." And as you said, Shane, rugby tackled. Might as well have been carrying the ball in his hand, if I'm honest. Really poor. And it was so obviously a second yellow. Now there is a
But
discussion.
Jot
Yeah,
directly outside the box as well, though.
it was directly. I mean, if the camera view was a little bit more above, you'd see he was just outside the box. But
Can I add
yeah,
something to that? If you guys remember, Pavlovich, I thought he had I don't remember the attacker's name, but I thought he had him covered. So Pavlovich he wasn't
yeah.
far away, by
There
the
was
way.
another
Pavlovich
Milan
was,
player
I think,
nearby.
right in front of
Yes.
him. Yeah. So I thought it's very unnecessary, and this leads to one of the things that I said last season, not just me but others as well, is that when you don't trust your defenders, you kind of take it into your own hands, right? And I think this is what Musa did. He didn't trust Pavlovich to cover him, or I don't know what, but from behind, what sort of tackle can you make other than, as you mentioned, John, a rugby tackle? And this is what happened.
Yeah.
No, do you know what? You know what it is? Sometimes, especially when you're younger, right, and you're panicking and you're trying to impress. In this case, Conceição, whatever, right? And you've probably been shouted at before you went onto the pitch. So you're nervous. So what you want to do is you want to make a good impression. And because you're young and stupid and you have no football IQ at this age, what happens is you make all the big mistakes. This essentially is what's happened.
Yeah.
Whereas if you have like a blooded player that Moneyball won't pay for, but if you had a blooded, ready-made player who would have, lived through these type of situations in the past, they would know not to make these tackles and not to fuck up like this. But this is the player
Yeah.
that we've got. Oh, and make no mistake about it, right? Even though what I've just said about Musa, I do think that there's a player in there somewhere. If he didn't have an American passport and if he wasn't lining up for the US men's national team, he would not be on this squad.
I mean,
So
doesn't Musa have an Italian passport too?
he does. And I think
Yeah.
he's again Canadian.
He does, but it doesn't
It
count
doesn't
for
count
anything,
for
does
anything.
it?
It's what people get confused about.
Yeah.
He's not homegrown
Yeah.
just because he's got an Italian passport. Yeah, crazy man.
I have a question for you guys. Because I just took I didn't remember who was on the bench. Benny was on the bench. I don't know why he didn't get the start.
Yeah, we're going to see the lineup in a minute, actually, Husney. We're going to be able to have a look at the entire lineup. So, in fact, I'll do it now. I'll bring it up now. This was the lineup, and you're right. Benny never came on. Yeah, odd. Why didn't he play from the start? Yeah, he played for Fane, even though everyone was saying he's absolutely exhausted, and Reinders. Just doesn't trust him, Husney. That must be it. Doesn't trust that the guy's ready. Yeah. It's when you look at the subs. Right? So first of all, you guys are right. We went 10v11. Even 10v11, we scored an equalizer. And then I thought, here we go. Just needs a little bit more attention. It's a bit of a change, clearly, after they came out at half time. The second half, they seemed a bit more kind of composed on it, but still managed to concede a decent goal from a decent move, actually. It's a decent shot. But I've got to say, for me, one of the players that it wasn't just 10v11, for me, it was 9v11 because Morata was invisible in that first half. And it looks like Conceição went enough at half time and chucked him out and removed him because he said, you're literally doing nothing. And it was so frustrating in the first half watching Morata at work. If you guys recall, when he first arrived at the club, in his very first game, he got injured. Do you remember? Because he was trying so hard, he was running everywhere. It looks like he's basically put his feet under the table and said, well, no one's going to challenge my position, so I can play as badly as I want. And he's just been putting in lazy and more lazy performances, and also, physically so weak. We just cannot deal with a player like this. Really poor.
But John, some of the comments that are coming out about him, he's like such a, and this is the type of character that we buy now. Some of the comments were like, oh, he's not feeling the love because it's like he wasn't scoring enough goals and that's why he's gone off to Galatasaray, right?
Yeah.
You're a full-grown man, for fuck's sake.
Yeah.
You shouldn't need any, you know what I mean? You go and you do your job to the best of your ability.
Yeah.
Do you know what I mean? It's this kind of weak character individuals that we're breeding in the club.
Yeah, no, I agree with you on that. And we took off Gabbia at half time for Terracciano. I think Gabbia was injured. Am I right, guys?
Yeah,
What?
that's why he.
I wasn't sure. I thought he took
what
him off because of the screw up.
But at the time, I thought he was taken off because
No.
he looked like he was like a in fear in that first half. After that mess that he made on that goal, it looked like he was really scared. So I think a lot of people assumed that it was because of that. In fact, it seems that he got injured so that's one. And then Reinders came off, and this is the usual thing. A lot of our coaches do this, guys. Just throw bodies in, isn't it? So Abraham came on 82 minutes, and I thought, what's he gonna do? And Okafor, the shock of all shocks, Okafor looking a little bit, he missed a glorious chance, by the way, when he came on. He really, obviously, because he hasn't played, he's a bit rusty, but
because he's injured, Jeff.
Well, yeah, we'll talk about that in a sec as well, about whether he was really injured. But Pulisic, and his equaliser that he scored was a decent finish. Once again, for me, the standout player. I'd say the best in a whole mess of a squad is Pulisic. He seems to be the one that is always trying. But there's weird rumors at the moment about him also complaining about the manager. So we'll talk about that in a sec. Okay, so the Champions League final table. So you got Liverpool first. They have been basically incredible. They could afford to throw away the last game and still finish top. Last week it was looking like we were going to have 3 Italian teams in the top 8, and actually it's now only one, and it's Inter Milan, which, they are the best Italian team. We have to say it. It's the truth. They destroyed Monaco, I think. Was it 3-0, guys? Do you remember? I think.
Yeah.
3-0, and they had 10 men. They played against 10
dog
men.
walked them,
Yeah. Atalanta drew with Barcelona. I've got an interesting story for you guys on that. My brother-in-law had placed 7 bets where he predicted the result of the match in the Champions League and that both teams would score. He put £5 on it. He stood to win $3,000, and the Atalanta-Barcelona match was the last one for him, and it finished 2-2. So that was a great one. Milan. Now, obviously, I think in terms of form, I would say Milan are where they actually belong. If we're honest, we did not really, belong in that top eight. But we gave ourselves such an enormous chance that I think that's what the shock is for the fan base, that we just didn't take it against a team that was eminently beatable. Boban said, I'm a huge, obviously Zagreb is my team. He said I have to support them over Milan, but Milan should be beating Zagreb. This is just inexcusable. And yeah, we managed to throw it away as typical. Juventus finished quite low down, 20th place, which, if you look at where they finished and where we finished, they could have been our next opponent. Instead, we took the 19th place team Feyenoord. PSV will play Juventus. So we've got a Dutch versus Italian playoff on two matches. And Bologna got knocked out because at the start of the season they were a complete mess. But they tried quite hard, but they only ended up on 6 points. So the prediction before the tournament, this league table started, guys, was that 15 points and above would probably get you to the top eight. So it turns out that it's 16 points. And the prediction was that 9 points and above would enable you to make top 24. It's actually 11 points. So this is information we can take on from into future seasons, I think.
John, do you know what I'm
Yeah,
noticing just from that table? It
yeah.
shows you how watered down the quality overall of the competition is,
Hmm.
right? So with
Yes.
these new additional teams that are in there, right? If you look at those last four teams, right, they've no right being in this competition. I'd even stretch it and probably say, what, the last six teams? Like, like,
Yeah.
and yourself, the only reason young boys are anywhere near this tournament is because UEFA is based in Switzerland.
Oh, okay.
Do you know what I mean? Because like it's the same as the Swiss football team. I mean, they consistently, right? They get these easy draws for World Cup qualifying, and you know why? It's because for some reason, for the coefficient draw was in the top 10 or 20 in the world, and you're going like, not really, no,
Hmm.
not a, it's been watered down. It's to be honest, it's nowhere. The last game, the last round of fixtures, I will say, okay, it was a bit more exciting because there was a lot to lose and there was a lot going on all at once. But when you
Yeah.
look at the overall quality of the competition, some of these teams have no right to be in it. I'm sorry.
So the table was constantly moving on the final day. So that was an exciting thing, wasn't it? We were all watching goal difference. At one point, if we had drawn against Zagreb, it would have been enough for us. But
Mm.
then these teams with greater goal difference, and this is the other thing, we had a terrible goal difference, guys. I think it was only +3 at the start of the evening. Um, Sadly, Dinamo Zagreb, despite beating us, I think they realized, again, because the table was shifting constantly, they realized that despite beating us, they were not going to make the top 24. So, kudos to them for taking that pride and not just getting heads down. They stood there and went, we're going to give our fans the win and go out with their heads held high. And they did. But yeah,
But John, it's
go
more
on.
than that. It's also the prize money for the win. I think it's a lot to them as well.
Yeah, I mean, okay, fair enough. And this is a good point. Tell me, I think making top eight was going to be, goodness,
24 million. I saw the
24
number.
million. Right. So, and we'll go to the transfer window, but the rumors coming out in Italy were that our management were waiting for this final game revenues to make decisions on the market, which I just, it leaves me speechless. Um, Yeah. Okay. So let's just
A
read a few
shout out,
comments here. Yeah.
yeah,
Oh,
Joel. Yeah, I just wanted to call it out. Nice one. Welcome, Joel. It's nice to see you, man. Bro, as a Mexican Milan fan, I'm so excited to have Santi in Milan. So he's on about Jimenez. But I hate that it has to be with this circus of a Milan. It's going to be hard for him to succeed. You could put Jesus Christ himself in this squad right now, Joel, and nothing would happen. Uh, but yeah, rock on. I love Mexico. To be honest, I always support them in the World Cup. because I can never support Ireland because we never qualify. So
No,
rock on.
okay.
Yeah.
Well, fair enough. I mean, I did hear that a lot of Mexican fans are very, very hyped for this guy coming in. I will say that before the transfer window, I had no eyes on him at all. I had no idea who he was. Obviously, he's been scoring goals in the Champions League, so it looks like he's a finisher. And in the game, but the concern was in this final group of fixtures, he got injured. And so the question was, what's the Milan ownership going to do with that now? Are they going to offer less because we're picking up an injured player, which is the typical thing they would do? Again, they played the usual game of at the start of the window, they offered a stupidly low amount and slowly crept up. And in the end, they basically offered the full amount with very easily reachable bonuses, which is just, it's so pathetic, guys. It's so pathetic. But yeah,
John, it's a story of CDK. The same thing happened. They
oh,
gave one number at the beginning. We were playing around, we were dancing around, I don't know what, around the campfire thinking we'll get it
yeah,
over. But then they stuck to that number until the end because the clubs know if you're desperate, you're going to end up paying for it. If they knew we couldn't afford it, they will probably just like, not entertain any negotiation at all. But they know we can and that we probably have to because we're in such a mess. So yeah, we got paid out yet again.
yeah. I mean, we got. No, you're right. I've got to say, ridiculous. So it's just the whole thing is a joke. We signed two players for the Futuro, by the way, during the transfer window, and that is panic buttons, guys. Panic
Ooh,
buttons.
quick update on that, right?
Go on.
So Milan, the Futuro game, right? Milan won 2-1, or Futuro won 2-1. Two of the players that they signed in the window actually scored the 2 goals.
Oh my god.
The old players,
Yeah,
right?
they're two
I
old
think
players.
they're
Yeah, they actually scored the goals.
yeah.
So now
It,
they're,
but isn't it weird, Shane? Isn't it? You put in adult players and you mix it
yeah,
up a bit because
that's
it's an
it.
adult league. Oh, how
Yeah,
bizarre. We could have told you that at the beginning. In fact, we've been banging on about this for months. Anyway,
that's it.
it's everything here is Futuro is desperation because they don't want relegation. They just I did a rhyme. Uh, desperation because they don't want relegation, and the adult team it's panic stations. Oh my god, I'm doing it. What's going on? Panic stations because they're going to be missing out on revenues, massive revenues, if they miss out on the Champions League. And so all of a sudden, the buys are coming in.
Mm,
I think Fahadinho had an interesting point, Hasni. You asked about Benacer, and Fahadinho said potentially it's because Fafana was suspended for the Inter game, and so he was played for that, and Benacer was rested. I don't know. I think this is such massive revenues. I think you should go. Yeah, Milan the rapper, Lab Gorilla the rapper. I don't know what. I don't know. I'm the worst rapper there is with an English accent as well. Okay, so let's go to the next one. So the post game, and this was quite revealing, guys. Conceição for a few weeks now. He's only been there for pretty much a month, and what's this from Ray? How is Jerry looking at the current management group after they replaced everything they've done in 6 months and not fine? I will talk about this, Ray. It's a great point. But let's go to the post game and what happened there. And I just wanted to bring this up because Conceição gave quite a revealing interview, and he starts by saying, "We have to enter the game much, much, much stronger." That was his first comment. Then he said, "I only had 17 players. I was forced to put Terracciano right back. I had to start Tomori at right back. I had 2 or 3 kids on the bench, and some could not be registered, some were injured." This is the comment that we see a lot, which is this club has no base. Every incident in this game was against us. We had no aggressiveness. So I'm not going to go with. He says I'm not going to say that the referee was crap, but I think he was. So he said it. And I'm not going to say that we were unlucky, but the biggest thing is mentioned here: the players have no base, and you'll see this comment over and over again: no base. And I was wondering what this comment might mean of no base. He seems to indicate that there's no pride, there's no aggressiveness in the players. He says we can prepare the game tactically, but wanting to win comes from within, and this team does not have that. Now, if you think as a player, you hear your coach saying that, I'm not sure that. We were saying this earlier, Shane. It's like player management. Even in my own job, I can tell you there are some people that can take being told you're not working well enough. You deserve to be, you get your ass in gear and sort yourself out. And some people will say, all right, I'm taking that and I'm going to run with it and I'm going to fix everything and I'm going to work harder. But then the next person doesn't respond to something like that and you have to change your approach. The best managers I find are people who understand how best individuals respond and gets the best out of everybody by molding to them, making them want to run through walls for them. But you're right in the sense that I think we have a squad of players who can't take being criticized and want to respond on the pitch. I personally think that we've got a problem there. Okay, so finishing outside the top eight, we ended up in a draw where we could have played against Feyenoord or Juventus. And in my head, and I don't know how you feel about it, guys, in my head, I felt very much that if we played Juventus, we might have had a better chance of going through. Because I think they are quite a shambles at the moment. They've added players. They don't seem to be very happy with their manager, and they are struggling. I think Feyenoord might be a bit more of a challenge. Although I should say, of course, we've now taken their striker off them, so their main striker. So I don't know what that's going to do to them. What do you guys think of the fixture, Hasni?
I think we should be able to pull through this one, not only because we took the strike off them. I think part of the 35 million plus bonus also translates into whatever money you stand to win from winning the game. Just let us win it and take it as part of the deal.
Yeah.
So maybe a little bit on the table, but yeah, I wouldn't be surprised. But we should realistically we should have the quality to beat them. They're fourth. I just Googled
Okay.
their league position. They're fourth in the
Okay.
league, so they aren't doing too hot. I would be worried if they were topping the league and really on
Yeah.
fire. So yeah, we should be able to do this. But one thing, just to dial it back a bit, John. I really like this Champions League format because if we had been in a group with like a really like high powered team like Liverpool and we had to play them home and away, I think that we'd just be done. Now we have somewhat of a fighting chance to get into that quarterfinal. And I guess the match day revenues do help from the balance sheet, Forza balance sheets as well.
Yeah.
Yeah, this is just my thoughts.
Yeah, good. I mean, well reminded. I wanted to hear actually your opinions on what you thought of the league phase. Shane, what about you?
Yeah, so the league phase, I've already given my thoughts on it. I think it's just it's watered down now, and it's I don't like it. I think it's given too many young teams. Shout out young boys. An easier chance to show up and make money when they have no right to. But just on the difference between us either playing Juve or Feyenoord, I'm at the level of cope now where the less that this team embarrasses me, the better. So it would be less embarrassing for us to get dumped out against Feyenoord than it would by Juve. So I'll take it. That's all I can really say on it.
Okay. Yeah, okay, fair enough. Fahadinho says some Conte Sal's comments were a shot at management. There's no doubt that read between the lines, guys, and he's telling you I've been given a bunch of trash and I'm having to deal with working with players who have no guts, and you put this team together and you gave it to me. When he said
But
about
to be fair, we need this though. We do need this. The club needs it. It does. Like it's unfortunate that Conceição has to do it because he's putting his head on the chopping block, and it could mean, and I think we could potentially lose a good manager here that could do a lot for us. But he's just
Yeah.
saying what everyone else knows is true.
I mean, he's saying that the players need a slap. He's saying that, and he's basically saying the whole squad, the whole club needs a slap, which I think we don't disagree with, right? Uh, there's an interesting thing going on though, Shane, and I think I've got some comments here from. Hang on, I've got some comments here. So these are the other fixtures, by the way. Just so I wanted to before I finish off with Conceição. Brest. So there's a French. Okay. PSG versus Brest. Come on, Shane, give us a joke.
No, honestly, I firmly support Brest in all shapes and forms.
Just there you go.
I'm
There
supporting
you
them in
go.
the Champions League this season because I can't support
Hey,
this shit show of a team.
okay. I like Brest to be free, but anyway. So, Man City, by the way, guys, they scraped into the knockout phases, and this shows you one aspect of this league format. if if you do not do well, because the teams are ranked according to how they finish, they are now going to have to play against Real Madrid. And on current form, Man City have got to be crapping their pants. Monaco have got Benfica. Celtic, look at them. You know, they work so hard to get through, and they've got Bayern Munich. Atalanta, just outside the top 8. I think they finished ninth, and they made Club Brugge, so they should take care of them. Juventus have got PSV. Toss up on that one, to be honest. Sporting against Borussia, and then there's us against Feyenoord. So, yeah, interesting. A few interesting knockout games coming up. All right, so let's go with the transfer market, guys. The transfer market.
You
Go
know,
on.
John, about the last few games, Atlanta against Club Brugge. So CDK will be playing his old club. So there's a lot of that going on. It's
Yeah,
like a lot of players were pitted against their old
yeah,
clubs or their boyhood
yeah.
clubs. So yeah, it's going to be quite interesting to see whether those teams have really grown out of this star players, because yeah, CDK was a big name in Club Brugge.
Yeah, I think they should welcome him because he's really come along nicely. He's really grown into a very solid player. I wish he had done that with us, to be honest with you. Benfica and Brest will be a perfect combination, says Carmelo. Okay, mate. Oh my god, I'm so slow. I just got that, Carmelo. I am not gonna. Okay, Jesus, I read it out. That's great. For those of you who understand Italian. Oh my god. All right. Right. So this is where I need your help, guys. Morata is gone. Okay, he's gone to Galatasaray, as far as I'm aware. We discussed this pre-show. That's a done deal. He's gone, right? He's not available today.
Yeah, he's gone. He's gone. It's
Okay.
official. So it was delayed. It was supposed to be yesterday that he was presented as a Galatasaray player. But apparently the weather was bad, so it's delayed him touching down and doing all the business by one day. So that's going to be official today.
Okay.
He's gone.
And Tomori was offered, shop window opened. Tomori was offered to Spurs, and apparently I even heard Villa. Not sure about that. But anyway, Tomori yesterday turned around and went, no, I'm not going. So good on him.
Yeah.
What I never understood, guys, was how on earth is that in any way a move that you should be making when we are so light at the back?
John,
Have you got someone in the wings? Yeah, go.
on top of that, though, because there's no leadership at the club, right? And there's no one to take flack for bad sporting performances, right? The morale is already terrible in the squad, right?
Yeah.
And you're essentially
Oh, yes.
saying to established players, if a bid comes in for you, you will be sold.
Yes. And this
This is so
okay.
It's so amateur.
This is a fantastic point, Shane, and I'm going to go to it in a minute. Actually, this is a fantastic point. You reminded me. Thanks for that. Um, what happened, I think, on Thursday or Friday, is that Conceição and Ibrahimovic pulled the entire squad into a room and spent 2 hours talking to them and telling them, "You are wanted. Don't listen to the press." I don't want. Conceição said,
By the way, Tamori, Daniel Levy is on the
"Yeah."
line. Do you want to
Well,
talk to him
well,
real quick
the
for a
thing
minute?
is, right, in one side, you're telling them this BS because Conceição said, "We've got an intermatch coming up. It's a very important game, and all these players' minds are being taken away." Well, I'm sorry. The club is basically telling everyone, "You come into this room, let's have a discussion, but have your luggage ready on the outside of the room. Just leave it outside." It's in essence what they've done. And for them to spend 2 hours, like, they must think our players are so thick that they would believe being told by Ibra, "You are wanted."
But
You're not wanted.
so there's one way, right, that this is smart to do, right?
What's that?
If it's a team that has balls and character, if you do this, right, and you say to the player, you know, your performances are not up to scratch. Therefore, if a big comes in for you, we will sell you. This makes sense. Knowing the team that we have, it's completely the other way. We have children, right, who that's literally just going to make them panic because we see the character of the players that we have. So again, it's actually destructive.
Yeah.
Do you see what I mean? If this was a functioning team, right, and Conceição came in and he basically said, "Listen, guys, if you don't, you know, if you don't fucking play, you're getting sold, whatever," right? You know, players will step up. I mean, look at Pavlovic, right? It looks like that's what he's doing so far, is stepping up, right? But you know, knowing the weakness in character that you have, you can't tell someone that's weak in character, oh, by the way, yeah, you know, because all you're going to do is you're just going to create more instability. You see,
Yeah.
and it's little things like this where there's such a lack of common sense in
Well,
actually reading, like,
yeah. I mean, we could go through almost the entire squad, and they've been connected to someone. They've been offered to someone. We're talking about starters that are going to be starting tonight. That have all been offered to go, and it's just, this is why I have no faith whatsoever in what ownership or management is planning going forward. Yes, they've spent more money on a player finally, but what is the project? I have no idea what the project is here. And
but
yeah,
John, this, you know what, I said this yesterday, right? Do you know what's fucking exhausting about this club at this point? You know damn well, right, that Jimenez isn't getting bought unless Sempre Milan, fair dues to them, they made a big deal out of it and basically said, listen, guys, this is what's actually been spent on strikers in the last
yeah,
10 years, which was like,
16 million or something
you
stupid.
know,
Yeah,
nearly zero,
yeah,
16
something
million.
like
So it's like, it's fucking exhausting because you have to prompt this management just to do like, a baseline
that. Yeah,
of, you know, trying to do something. Like, it's fucking exhausting.
yeah,
Yeah, I just want to add to that. So, in terms of our mercato strategy, other than the fact that there are reinforcements needed, especially with the Jimenez deal, the marketing behind it, guys, watch out because he hasn't signed yet. He'll be marketed like
oh, mate.
crazy
Yeah, 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 yeah.
to Mexico, North America. Just like in the same way that Pulisic was. Jimenez deal, it could have been 50 million, but they know that they just need to sell enough jerseys
Oh,
to
you're
make up
saying
for it.
part of the algorithm is viewership in Mexico.
Yeah, I'm not surprised because this is what Cardinale is focused on. He just wants to make money, and the only reason why Fonseca, and we talked about this, and I know each of us agree, the only reason why Fonseca was let go is because the top four was in serious jeopardy, and and he was super duper worried that we wouldn't even make uh, the playoffs for the Champions League. I mean, if that was guaranteed, I mean, you think Fonseca would leave? No, they'll keep him on. And this is exactly what's happening. All about the money.
Yeah. This has got no understanding whatsoever on team makeup either. The conversation we were having within our WhatsApp group was, guys, this makes no sense because the players being offered out, we're going to end up with not enough homegrown players. And this means that someone is going to have to be paid to literally sit in the stands because you're breaking Serie A rules. But also, our Champions League squad is then going to be decimated because you won't be able to select the full list of players. It's kind of crazy. But I've got to say, for these,
But
yeah,
John,
go.
we're already doing it. We have Origi's on the payroll, and has Balotelli left even? Oh,
I
he
think
left
Balotelli
recently.
left. Yeah,
Oh yes, Bellator has gone to Le Havre in
Yeah, so
Liga.
we there's a history of the club doing that already, saying that we can't move these people on. We not homegrown. We can't register them. We just keep paying their salaries for nothing.
it's very odd. It's when you think about people that are trying to think about financial measures, these decisions actually don't fit with Serie A rules. These, yeah, I just very, very perplexed. So let's look here. So this was another discussion point. If you remember, RB Leipzig, we're looking at Okafor. Shane, fill us in. What was the actual realistic reason why you think Milan came out and said after Noah Okafor played, said they came out and said injured, definitely Noah.
Yeah, so to be honest, I'm no fan of this management, sort of Milan management, but I have to give him a pass on this one. I think this is very unprofessional from Leipzig. So it seems to me what's happened is he's gone over to do a medical. They found an injury that doesn't exist because they've decided not to take the player. I don't think this is our management.
Okay.
Because I mean it makes sense, right? Because I mean his like any tests that he's going to do, right? Like Milan would literally, I would assume, as fucking dumb as we are sometimes, we would then run the same tests, right, before a game because you don't want to be playing a player if he's injured, right? So if he's passing, then that means RB are bullshitting, allegedly. And if they're bullshitting, then it makes them look very unprofessional because they basically just kind of decided, nah, no.
Okay.
So
So the Okafor thing is probably a Leipzig fault that they decided last minute. Let's pull out. Yeah.
100%, and it's very
Okay.
unprofessional.
Okay. The other thing to say is that Pavlovic was offered to Fenerbahce and he said no, wants to stay at Milan. Pellegrino is heading to Huracan on loan as well. So this is the point we were saying earlier on.
Let's talk Milan. Okafor broke the weight scale of the Leipzig clinic. He is chunky. I'll give that to him.
He does look a bit chunky. Oh, hello, Art. No worry, mate. Don't worry, mate. We're going quite early UK time, so completely understand. But yeah, so this is the theme. The theme is player after player after player offered for sale. They were trying to clearly scrape players, but they were also clearly trying to remove players that were non-homegrown, so that they could create space for other non-homegrown players to come in. Because we noticed that the numbers didn't make sense in terms of number of non-homegrown players. We were getting to a stage where obviously they tried to get rid of Chicken Royale as well, but he got that massive injuries, therefore suddenly he dropped out. But what they were trying to do is remove him because he's not homegrown, so that they could have a space for another non-homegrown to come in. It's crazy. Yeah. Carmelo's on form today, isn't he? He's using the Italian and English jokes. He's all-round player. But yeah, so apparently Pellegatti yesterday said that Milan are still hard trying to remove Okafor because they need to create a space within the squad for João Felix to come in as the next target. They can't do it otherwise. Otherwise, they would bring him in, and we would literally have to be paying a player not to be able to play in either Serie A or the Champions League, which is insane. We should never be in a situation. And again, it smacks of incompetence by management.
Can Can we just talk about João Felix for a second,
Go on.
right? Because I just want to temper expectations here and as to why it won't work. And I can tell you why it won't work now, right? Like, you know, my same criticism of Jovic, right? Whereas, you know, he was a Real Madrid player once.
Yeah, he was.
He was a Real Madrid player, right? You know, couldn't hack it there. Which, to be honest, right, there's quality players that can't hack it at Real Madrid because it's the greatest club in the world, right? That happens. However, if you can't hack it at Fiorentina, right,
Mhm.
after Real Madrid, and next thing you come to Milan, right, you're not quality. I'm sorry, you're not serious, right? Can you imagine a player like João Felix, right, who hasn't really hacked it anywhere since he was like what, 18, 19, right? He's going to come to a fucking pressure cooker where he's not protected by management, right? How is this going to work?
Yeah, I genuinely don't know. Yeah,
This is
they're all guessing that.
this. It's no. I can tell you. I can tell you how it's going to work, right? You know, I can tell he's going to be. You know, he's probably going to play. He's going to play once, right? You know, do what he usually does, disappears, right? Probably might be given 2 or 3 games by the fan base, right? Pressure will get to him, and you know, then we have a 6 month loan that a player that we need to potentially purchase from Chelsea because Chelsea demanded the right they want us to basically take him off their books afterwards. This is going to be a fucking disaster. So as we're going to get a new Jovic, another player that's not serious. He's not going to fulfill a need. He's not going to be half the quality that fucking even Diaz was. As harsh as people were on Diaz. I mean, there's nothing about this fucking move that makes sense. And I don't know why we're getting rid of Okafor for this joke of a player.
Yeah.
Because whatever about Okafor, right? He bangs in goals every now and then. Fucking João Felix. Come on, guys. Temper your fucking expectations. Oh, but I forgot, because he's a 40 million player and we're getting excited now because apparently 40 million euro fucking players are good.
Yeah.
Right?
Yeah.
Right. Let me just be very honest here, right? This is going through the filter of fucking Moncada and Ferlani and Ibrahimovic. Do they have a track record of signing quality players? No.
Correct.
It's not going to work.
No, it's a strange one, to be honest, and I get it. At one point, the guy looked like one of the hottest players in the world, and that kind of behavior. But yeah, Carmelo, we cannot. If Felix is the target for whatever reason, and Shane has made his opinion well known, I believe ownership are kind of saying, look, because it's Conceição, he'll get the best out of Felix. I don't know, mate. I really don't know about that. But yeah, you cannot bring in Felix if Okafor is still there. We got too many non-homegrown players. The squad is to the brim with non-homegrown players, and it simply is not doable. They can use it as an excuse, even guys, for not doing any more acquisitions in the next couple of days because the mercato closes in tomorrow night. It's a bit meh. It's a bit of a mess.
No,
A
it's
dry
Tuesday.
loan. Is it
Tuesday night.
Tuesday?
Mm-hmm.
Is it Tuesday night? I thought
Tuesday
it was
night in Italy, yeah.
Okay, if you say so. All right, so let's go to the next one. Now, at one point, the crazy, like, the shit hit the fan when this came out that Milan were willing to give Camarda to Monza on an 18-month deal that could be terminated in the summer if Milan needed it. Now, where this really didn't make any sense at all was that Camarda is 100% a homegrown player. So he generates a slot within the squad, including the Champions League squad, to be able to bring in non-homegrown players, right? He fills that quota. At the same time that this rumor comes out, we hear that Calabria has gone to Bologna and he is pictured, and there's videos out there of Calabria crying in his car, being interviewed, saying, I'm really going to miss this club. I really love it. But that's another homegrown player. So if you look at the maths, at this point, we were looking at removing 2 homegrown players and replacing with foreigners that don't fill the quota, which would have caused us to have too many players who cannot play in the squad, like literally breaking Serie A regulations. This is where I was going. The Camarda move to Monza is a good move for him because he possibly will get a chance, but it's a terrible move for Milan because we don't have homegrown talent. Like by rules we need it. You're weakening everything, and now we heard yesterday that Ibrahimovic. I don't for 1 minute. I'm not going to give the idiot any credit at all because this move should never have happened. By the way, but Ibrahimovic has stepped in and said, put his foot down and said, no, Camarda can't go. It's probably someone who any fan probably has just turned around to him and said, hey, mate, by the way, you get rid of Camarda, who are you going to remove from the first squad? You know?
Do you know what it'd be? Do you know
Yeah.
it'd be a smart move in terms of homegrown? I know Fahadinho's been on about the player quite a lot, so shout out to Fahadinho. You know Luca or Luca,
Yeah.
whatever,
Yeah.
right? Because he's homegrown, right?
Yeah.
But we could also then get rid of Tammy, who I don't think qualifies as homegrown.
No, I think he counts as foreign. Yeah, he absolutely counts as foreign. Yeah.
Yeah, because I mean, he came up to the Chelsea Youth Academy, right? So it's like, we could get rid of the young player in Tammy and then get in a homegrown player. Like that move would make so much sense. Unfortunately, it would also cost money. So it's like, fuck.
Yeah. Yeah.
Guys, I've been taking a look at the squad
Yeah.
list. And if you see the first team squad list, they're putting in a lot of the Futuro players. So Zeroli is part of the first team, according
Yeah.
to the website. And so is Jimenez. I think
he
counts as
does not.
homegrown.
He does not. Jimenez does not.
No, he
No.
Oh, he
came
doesn't?
through
No, okay.
Real. Yeah.
Yeah,
Yeah.
he does not.
Terracciano
So
is there.
so
Florenzi.
Hasni, listen. Jimenez can't even play in the Champions League squad.
Oh, I was wondering about that. Why I
Yeah,
didn't
it's
see him in
because
the-
he's not a homegrown
in the
player,
squad.
and we reached a quota. So we remember we did that episode. I think it was you and I, Shane, where we were looking at it and saying, "Oh Jesus Christ, they're having to remove players. We can't have the full quota of players in the Champions League because we don't have enough homegrown talent. So we can't have a full squad in the Champions League." So Jimenez, you remember Jovic, Husney, he can't play in the Champions League because he's not homegrown either. So
I thought Jimenez had some time in the Primavera. That's why I thought he
that's not
counted.
enough. You need
No, you
something
need
like
so many
3 years.
years. Yeah.
Yeah, I think it's 3
Yeah.
years.
Oh, okay.
And Carmelo makes a point. He doesn't think management knows regulation. I suspect that is actually true. They don't understand the regulations. Which who are
Hold on.
we?
That's a great comment by Art, realistic Milanista. So, just in relation to Ibrahimovic blocking the deal, right? Why would a consultant / advisor block a market deal? They can advise or consult on it, but they can't block it. I'll tell you why, right? Because Ibrahimovic hasn't blocked it. All Ibrahimovic is he's just saying, "Oh, okay, yeah, we need to say that someone's blocked it. Oh, I need to make myself look good. I'll say I blocked it."
Yeah.
Well, he does tell everyone that they all work for him, right? So
Well, but
maybe
you could say he's gone. Oh, I could win some grace here with the fan base by saying that I stopped Camarda from leaving the club.
100%. That's all that's happening. It's like no, literally Syria rules, right?
Yeah.
Stop stop Camarda from going.
So then we go to this mess. This happened before the infamous situation between Conceição and Calabria at the end of the Parma game. Is that right, guys? It was the
Sorry,
Parma
John.
game, wasn't it?
Sorry,
Yeah.
John. Who's that guy on the right? He looks familiar, but I think he's a Bologna player.
Yeah, he's a Bologna player. But it says here 36 hours before the game against Parma that these players are not supposed to be going to this concert or whatever, and this is the point. Like, it's just a bad influence. And I saw this picture. My first thing was my heart sunk because I do not want Camarda exposed to these shitholes if I'm honest. I don't want him exposed and hanging around with these people. These people are a really terrible influence on him. So when we first saw the rumor about Camarda being
Is
moved to
Camarda
Monza,
even 18?
no, I don't think he is. No. No.
Yeah,
He
see,
should
this is an
he
issue.
should be kept away from these guys, honestly. And I'm glad that Calabria's gone because again, the stories are that Conceição had said no, there's a curfew, you can't go to this thing. They went anyway. So what does that tell you about what their behavior towards a brand new manager? The rumors now coming out in Italy that a whole bunch of the squad are really not happy with Conceição already. The rumors are that Theo says he can't get on with the coach. I'm so glad Calabria's gone. I'm really glad he's gone. But, don't drag the kid into this. Keep him safe. Keep him away from these. I'm going to say the word scumbags. They just shouldn't be together. And the other rumor is Pulisic also is complaining about Conceição and his methods. So there's interesting kind of opinions, and I think I'm going to say shout out to Nico here, and really watch his episode yesterday. He's got an interesting opinion on Conceição and his management style. Nico focuses a lot more on how a manager is supposed to treat their players, how you're supposed to coach them and get the best out of them. But it's a very interesting situation. And yeah, this was the next rumor. Calabria molto vicino a Bologna, very close to Bologna, as we know he's gone. To make it completely clear, his contract with Milan was going to expire June 30th, which basically means that Bologna have taken him on. That's the end of his career at Milan because they've taken him on until the summer. So he's gone. He'll never come back
To be
again.
fair, John, his career at Milan ended about 4 years ago, but for some reason he just kept showing up. I mean, like, let's be honest, and people fucking crying that he's gone.
No.
Let's be honest, right? Like, we've had so many great captains going through the ages.
Yeah.
We've had, you've had Maldini, you've had fucking Baresi, right? You've had great captains. Great captains. This guy literally inherited the captaincy because he was there through the banter era. He's not a quality player. He's not a quality individual, right? To be honest, I think he's asymptomatic about all this scumbaggery and shit that's going on with this partying, right? I think he's definitely, we know that as allegedly, John, right? We know that he was said to have been there when Theo got up to that business where
there is evidence he settled the bill, mate. So he settled the bill.
Like, so I mean, Jesus Christ, he's not something someone you want at the club. It's different if he's a world class player, right? And you could kind of say, okay, all right, he's a scumbag, but on the pitch he's delivering. The guy's a fucking stock player. Like, I mean, Jesus Christ. And people are upset saying, oh, that's another part of the history of this club going. If that's if a player being at the club a long time is, you're saying is, oh, he's part of the history of the club. I don't know. What about Hachi Mastor or whatever, right? He was with the club for years.
Yeah.
Is he not? I mean, Jesus
I
Christ.
think the next longest after Calabria is Gabbia, isn't it?
It has to be. It would have to be because he's one of the last ones remaining, isn't he?
Yeah.
But it's done on appearances now, isn't it? Or that's the way they were doing it.
It's just the Italian way, yeah. The Italian way is not about. Yeah, they're not picked as you'd think, like in the personality, blah blah blah. This is more
based
about
on can you actually lead people or not?
Yeah,
because this fucking joke of a human being can't.
Yeah. So yeah, as we said, he's gone. To me, that's a good thing. And then rumors come off at 40 million for Theo Hernandez. Crazy, this is a club that is owned. Are they? Their owners, are they Malaysian or Indonesian? I can't remember.
They're Indonesian. They own quite a number of tobacco brands.
So the
Richest club in Italy, by the way.
Yeah.
richest club in Italy.
Yeah, they are.
So there you go. And then Jimenez is confirmed. I think yesterday he was confirmed. He's arrived. He can't play the first game because, of course, he's got a little bit of an injury. So he'll be standing there watching quite a good game, I think. And I wanted to then move on to this, guys. Let's do it. So now let's take a picture of everything, right? And for this, I took clips of Conceição's pre-game interview, and I'll translate some of it for you, okay? First of all, let's just have a look at the league table. Let's just get this in our heads, guys. Milan, 34 points. Inter, 16 points clear. Looking to move 19 points clear if they beat us tonight. Yeah? Juventus are on 37 points. So what I'm saying here is the gap could widen with this defeat. And, Inter need this because they're trying to keep up with a Napoli that is, of course, performing out of the skin, because that is what everybody knows, that is what Conte teams do for the very first season at least. So it's going to be an interesting one. But let's look at the pre-game, right? Right, now listen to this. Conceição said on Tomori, because Tomori was being at this point of this interview, Tomori was still being offered to Tottenham for sale, right? And Conceição said, I'm in contact with all the players. When I was at Porto, we had about 10 players that played until the very last minute for me. Okay? Now, if I think that a player needs to play, they will play, even if they have to go the following day. I have faith that Tomori will be able to play. Okay? I think we could see him as a partner with Pavlovic, because Chao and Gabbia today trained, but they're not really in a great physical condition. That's what he said. We will debut Walker. And then on Morata, this is, again, guys, earlier on you said it's confirmed that Morata's gone. He even said, I spoke to him yesterday and the day before yesterday. When someone is married, you have to want to be married. And you have to confirm that by both the bride and the priest. This is his Conceição's comment. Yeah? But more than these metaphors, Milan needs, a concrete evidence. And Conceição said, after the first half at Zagreb, it was difficult to get to any lower position than that, for the squad. It was so bad. And I think, he's basically saying, Morata,
No. We're going to get lower tonight.
You wait. Okay.
Don't worry about that.
So then is this, right? This is the point. This word you keep hearing, there's no base, there's no base to anything we do. There's no foundation. So they've asked him to confirm, what does this mean? Also, he's in Croatia, he said, there's a lot to improve in the squad. Every coach wants perfection, but we have to work towards even building a base. Perfection is something we're going to have to think about later. Ok? Io avevo diversi club che mi cercano con cui avevo guadagnato 10 volte di più. Okay, so it says, I could have gone to a club that could have paid me 10 times more than Milan. But I came here because I wanted to. Okay? It says, you cannot say no to Milan. I came here because I was convinced that I could do something important. This is one of the worst times in the history of Milan. Of this, I am aware. But this awareness means that we have a base to start working from. Okay. So this is the other point about people are saying that after the fight with Calabria, that I'm not a calm person. I'm not a very tranquil person. And people are confusing that with passion. I am like this. I don't do things that are fake. I live games with emotion and passion, and this is not a problem. It's not a defect. It is my character. Okay, for those who are questioning Conceição, and that's it on that. So Shane, you can, or whoever's got control, you can take me off so we can go full screen. Okay, let's just think about the game tonight, guys. We've got a squad of players, half of whom have been offered for sale recently. Okay, we've got a squad of players that really don't take responsibility for their actions. We have no leaders on that squad, but not only that, we're decimated in terms of injuries. If he plays Chow and Gabia, he's going to be pushing the limit on their fitness, apparently. Walker is going to start because Calabria's gone and Chicken Royale is injured. So Walker has to start. So he's going to walk into a pitch, into a new squad, and he's going to start. I don't know how that's going to work. The rumor is that Musa will play again, and that Reindeers will play alongside Benacer because Fofana is injured. Up top, the rumor is that he's going to play with Tammy. Okay, off the bench, we'll have absolutely nothing. Just want to make it clear. It's going to be up to that first 11 to somehow do something, get themselves ahead by one goal or something, and hold on for dear life. I think more than any fixture, any match we've had against Inter this season, we are so not ready. The floor has just literally collapsed on the squad, and I think we're in for a beating today. What's your opinion on that, Shane?
Oh yeah, no, 100%. Because I think I know we're coming off the back of what is it, 2 straight wins against Inter,
Yeah.
right? Which were miraculous, and it was great to see it. But you see, the thing is that to win games like this, you have to find it within yourself to actually want to go out and say, "Well, fuck you." You know, I'm going to take it by the reins, and actually, I'm going to win. But when the entity, so the club, is undermining you as a person and as a player, where are you going to find that resolve? So when the club itself says you can be sold, no player, no matter who they are, is actually going to turn up and go, "Oh, okay, I'm going to put in a good shift now." You know what I mean? Not in the way that they're doing it. So there's no reason for the players to show up tonight. You know, they're not protected by anyone. They're not protected by management. Management throws them under the bus, as we've seen through this transfer window. You know, Tomori getting Villa, God knows who else. You know, management doesn't protect them. Conceição, as we've seen, you know, he's more aggressive. I don't think there's any protection going on there either. I mean, he's calling them out left, right, and centre, for right or for wrong. I think, to be honest, it's what the club needs, as painful as it is, because everyone can see the symptoms of this team. There's no balls, there's no character. We know why. It's because of the playing staff. As to who put the playing staff there, yeah, they're an issue as well. But if we focus on the playing staff, we call it what it is. Conceição, for me, he's correct in everything that he's saying. How he's going about it, that's a different matter. So why would any player show up tonight with the intention of actually
wanted to die for that shirt?
Yeah, you don't, and you're going against a great team, a team with depth and with a plan. There is no way tonight that they're going to get a positive result because everyone is checked out.
Yeah.
So, no.
The question is on the behavior of the transfer window, of the club throughout the transfer window. It's been abhorrent. I think that's the correct word for it. Conceição he won us a Super Cup, and then we've had no backing for him at all. Decisions have been made very slowly. It looks like they were thinking, let's just shift some revenues here, shift some revenues there. Literally having a calculator in hand and saying, we've saved 1.5 million here, therefore now we can bring in someone and pay them 1.5 million. This is an absolutely pathetic way to run a club. And you can't do anything. So fixtures are being played, and now they've left us short for such an important game. Jimenez, they should have paid the money from day one. What did we say? They started with an offer of 20 million, final told them to F off. And sure enough, in the end, we paid the full amount anyway, really. Just do that from day one. Be serious. And if you want to turn around and say, look, okay, we need to sell Tomori because actually we want that 35 million back, as much of it as possible. If that is how you're playing the game, if that is what you're doing, all of the lies, guys, everything we've been told about wanting to win things, it's just a lie. Like
But
from day one.
but the thing is, though, John, as well, this team is already so lean that there's nowhere that they can cut from, right? And
No.
still
Yeah.
maintain a level of, you know, still maintain a reasonably high level. You know what I mean? They just can't. It's kind of like you're saying, well, okay, so I mean, imagine, so you're paying whatever 35 mil, whatever the fuck it is for Jimenez, right? And then you're kind of going, all right, so that's fine. So now we have hopefully our starting striker that we've wanted for the last 15 years, right? And now it's like, okay, let's sell our starting centre back.
Yeah.
Like you can't. Like and then the aim is to get in some Georgian kit from, what was it, Empoli or something like that. Like you know, you just can't. There's no way to maintain sporting success. There's no way to achieve sporting success, let alone maintain it. And you're going against an Inter squad with fucking Barella, fucking Chalanoglu, fucking,
Apparently, yeah, Hakan is fit. He's been. I saw Uncle Sharma's show yesterday, and he said that Hakan's back. So we were hoping he was going to be missing because he's a
like you can't.
problem.
You can't. There's no feasible way. Like even it would be lucky if we won, right? But we would still need luck. But none. I can guarantee none of the players are going to show up tonight.
Yeah. Hasni, what's your opinion on the big derby, man?
Uh, I have this thought in my mind that I'm quite sure it's wrong, but I'm just going to say it anyway. The mess that we're in right now, off the pitch, on the pitch, is going to be to our advantage. Inter's probably going to think it's going to be easy 3 points, and we're going to clown them out. This is what I think it's going to happen. So maybe this is part of the grand plan that we've been, having all this infighting, getting rid of players, trying to make ourselves look like complete shit show, which we are, only to pull off a convincing win in the derby. So yeah, I mean, I'm cautiously optimistic. I think that's the only way to put it, because other than that, if you look at it purely on how we've been playing, our form, the performance in the Champions League, how we're doing the league, we shouldn't win it tonight. But you never know. I mean, it's days like this, it's moments like this that we count ourselves out and wait a second, where did those 2 goals come
Yeah.
from? Can happen.
They won't come from Tammy.
No, they came from Martinez on the other end. That's where they came from.
Oh my god, you're right, Hasni, you're right. In previous games, for example, Hakan started in a previous game, and he clearly was carrying a knock, and he had to come off, and he put in a terrible performance. Today, we have a similar situation where he's just come back from injury. So, as Art says, Hakan potentially will not be able to put in a full shift. Again, Fahadinho makes a really good point here, which is the moment we get any cards or injuries, there's nothing that can come on, guys. There's nothing ready to come on. nothing integrated, nothing prepared. That's the scary thing. Is our squad is going to get more tired. We're going to get absolutely pounded on. So miracles happen. Football is a game we love because results sometimes don't go to predictions. Otherwise, everyone will be very rich. But I have to say, guys, this is the worst preparation we could have had. And for Conceição to come out to the press and say, stop spreading rumors and lies that we're trying to sell players. A what? No. We've had Tomori have to come out and say, I'm not going to Spurs. We've had Pavlovic say, I'm not going to Fenerbahce. Players are openly being put on the shop window, offered for sale, and they're having to reject the transfer themselves. So they know that this management has rejected them. And now this management is trying, through a 2-hour session with Ibrahimovic, to get them to put their soul into that red and black jersey, which I hope it's a red and black jersey today and not some shithole lime green bullshit again. I don't know what jersey is going to be worn, but that's the problem I have, is that why would you do anything today? And how do you say this name? Cortesanda. I mean, listen. I hope these fans are right. I really hope Jimenez is something else. The problem is Jimenez, from what I've read and from what I've heard from Italian pundits, is he's a real finisher. For that to be the case, the balls have to come in for him. People have to create chances for him. Yeah? And for that, you need a squad that is able to play together. My main concern here is that Conceição has openly said there is no base to this squad. There is no foundation for this squad to start from. And we have to start from there. You worry about the game, you worry about the tactics, you worry about everything else afterwards. You need a foundation first. How can a team that our own coach says has no foundation, play against a team that is fighting for Champions League and Serie A titles? We've had 2 incredible results. This would be the most incredible, because the squad has been decimated even further and demoralized. I think that's my main problem. I can't see it, guys. And going forward, the word is that obviously you're going to have to then rename the Champions League squad for the next phase. So I believe, I'm not sure if Jimenez is allowed to even play against Feyenoord. I'm not sure if the rules allow it, because I think the Champions League squad is locked until the next phase. He would be able to play against Roma in the Coppa d'Italia. That's what I've heard will be his first game.
That's not a problem, John. You can just put on a Feyenoord jersey and score own goals. I mean, it's fine with us, right?
No, that's it. I think we just temper expectations as well, because remember, Jimenez has been bought by the same management that bought like RLC and Musa and Romero and who else? And Tammy. Morata. The list of failures goes on. So you have to run it through that filter. Let's be honest. It's not like we're getting fucking Van Basten here, guys. Do you know what I mean? Dutch league or no. I know it's nice to fall into the copium trap of, oh, Jesus Christ, we have the next Ballon d'Or level player. Do you know? If that was the case, though, Man City be after him.
Shane, we had the next Ballon d'Or player. He went to Fenerbahce.
Krunic. I know.
Fenerbahce's taking a lot of an interest in our club, by the way, haven't they? They really have, Mourinho's come along and offered to buy so many players off us.
I'm convinced that the Turkish league is like one money laundering scam. I don't know where to get the money from. That's allegedly.
Something's going on. They clearly have a ton of money, yeah. Very interesting. So I think, okay, Hasni, so you're saying a win. I'm saying a loss. Shane, you're saying a loss.
Yeah. Katsiavit, how well do you think Jimenez can go in the technical defensive Italian league? This is the question. Do you know? Because it's going to take him at least a season to figure it out.
Yeah, I mean,
because we buy green players, we don't buy ready-made players like this.
this is.
I mean, hopefully, well, but
yeah, exactly. This is a very different prospect. You're right, Cacciavita. You can absolutely say that. It says here he can play against Feyenoord in the knockout phase. Well, okay, if that's the case, that's great. At least we've got a striker. But we'll have to have a look in terms of squad rules. As you said, Hasni, the issue is he's not a homegrown player either. So we would have to nominate a lot of children on the bench in order to make up. That.
All right.
Yeah.
Oh my goodness.
That's what we are. So 5 p.m. my time is when the Inter game is. Very strange time as well, by the way. I thought it would have been an 8 o'clock kickoff, actually.
When Inter play the smaller teams, they always play earlier in the day.
Oh dear. So Art says it's a draw. Yeah, a lot of stuff to say here. I think I really dread to think what would happen to the fan base if we get mullered. But I've said it on the chat. I think this Milan team is literally a drop away from getting smashed by someone. I hope it's not tonight. I really hope it's not tonight because I think we've got a 5-6-0 loss in us.
In a fucked up way, I hope it's tonight because I think it'd make management panic a bit and actually purchase someone.
God.
It's that fucked up logic. I know it's terrible to go through it, but like...
I read this funny comment because it wasn't mentioned, but someone did come in for Liao.
it was Pioli's team in Saudi Arabia.
Yeah.
Really?
So there's a funny comment that I read in one of the Instagram captions. Someone saying, "We're not selling him for like 80 or 90 million. Just buy the club and you can have him."
That's true.
Very good. That's a great comment, actually. Please come and buy us, anybody. Please just come and buy us. Take us away from these morons.
Yeah.
So I guess we just finish off by saying thank you everyone for joining us. Cacciavit, Realistic Milanista. Goodness, we had Carmelo, Cortez, Ander. Thank you. We had a lot of new.
Fadino,
keep going. We had a lot of new people this time, which is really nice to see.
I'm liking the gents from Mexico. That's really nice. It's positive. I like seeing new guys from new regions like that. That's cool.
Yeah, that is super cool.
Yeah. Yep, and for those who are just tuning in now, you can also catch us on Instagram Live. I managed to get it working, and it's in the right format, by the way, the same format that we're in now, so it's not.
Right.
So you can catch us on Instagram Live.
Nice.
And this will be uploaded right after this show to Spotify and Apple Podcasts.
Bitpanda is our new sponsor. Brilliant. Okay. No more WeFox. Dogecoin to the moon, guys. It's the only legitimate crypto. All right.
Keep well, guys, and best of luck tonight for the game. Let's keep it together. Just a shout out to Max Lombardia show. I think they're going to do a live after the game as well. So tune into them. We love those guys. Good luck to their post game. Might need some hard alcohol there, man. I'll tell you.
Oh no!
All right. All the best, guys.
All right. Forza Milan, everyone, and we'll catch you in the next episode.
Ciao tutti. Ciao.
Milan.
Bye, everyone.
Italia!